Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
We're starting up our newest episode of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I was fixing my hat.
It's damn right. Figured you guys waited long enough for the show to start. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the show, it's the comic book review show where we take comics of this past week, recap, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. Yeah, we got a bunch of books. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about Terminator Dark Fate. It came out this past weekend and has bombed. It's over. The Terminator franchise is dead for the next 10 years at least. And yeah, so with that in mind, what'd you think?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, did I like it as much as 2 or 1? No. Did I like it more than the others? Yeah.
There you go.
I thought Linda Hamilton was great. Mm-hmm. Good on her.
Yeah.
She did a good job.
Right.
Arnold was good as well. They did some interesting things where it was like they almost did like a C-boot kind of thing.
Yes.
But in like an actual clever way.
Yeah. It was very Force Awakens. It was a soft reboot, as they say, while also hard ending the previous stories.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. I'd say I agree with that. Third best Terminator movie. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the comments mentioned they were like, "Oh, that's not high praise," and I'm like, "There are 6 movies and a show.
Yeah.
Third best ain't bad."
No, it's true.
I mean, that being said, do I prefer 1 and 2? No. Yes. Yeah. Do I prefer that over those 2? No. I prefer 1 and 2. They're my headcanon.
Yeah.
I thought about some more. When they did what they did in the first 10 minutes of the movie, that was the biggest thing that stuck with me. Was what happened.
Yeah.
I have decided I don't like that.
I knew you weren't gonna like that, but I mean I get where they're going with this because it's either they're going to end it for that time or for that storyline.
Right. They have to, because otherwise there's nothing else they can do.
Well, yeah, and I think it's nice that got an ending, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're pleased with how it turned out for those characters, they got an ending. As opposed to just either being CG'd onto someone else later on down the road because they're like, oh crap, we got to do something with this.
Well, that's what they did in this time.
Or being recast as someone else.
Right. Well, which they did.
I mean, long past their being alive.
But they did that in Genesis as well, where they recast Kyle Reese with the worst actor.
Yeah.
And they recast T-1000, and they that is a bad example. Genesis is a great example of what you're talking about, where it's they should never do that.
Yeah.
Because damn. That being said, yeah, no, I dug it. I dug it well enough. Mackenzie Davis, great opening action sequence, great actors, great pacing for the most part. The only issue I had was you could really feel when it was written by someone who sucks. There were about 6 or 7 different writers on that. Yeah. I saw David Goyer's name on there, which was cool. So it's just anytime you do any kind of niche franchise property, call David Goyer because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, there definitely were some scenes that were I was oh, all right, fine. We didn't need this scene, and
nope.
B, I don't know.
Or the action sequence was man, you did such a great job with the freeway fight and with the warehouse fight.
Yeah.
Why am I watching a muddy CG action mess in the third act? Why is everything dark? And that's not flying in the face of how theoretically, if you're making a Terminator film, the action should take place at night because that's the whole that's the visual theme of those 2 movies.
Right, because they couldn't afford anything.
No, well it's harder to shoot. It's harder to shoot at night because you got to light things.
Well, yeah, or you don't.
Or you don't like this movie for no reason, where things are in the dark and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
But even those the night freeway chase in Terminator 2, well lit, looks great.
Yeah.
The moments for me where the action was hard to see, I'm why? Part of the charm is getting to see it, which is why it looked different.
We were too close up. I was okay, hi.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean, that was where I was wait, what? Oh, and then we come back out of it, and I was oh, that happened.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice. It was fine.
Right.
There were definitely, though, some really, excellently written scenes.
Yeah.
There was a really great quiet moment between Linda Hamilton and one of the new characters that's just,
Mackenzie Davis? Or are you talking about the
other one? I don't want to give anything away. But
Danny.
Yeah, when they're in the woods.
Right. That was great.
That's a spectacular scene in my opinion. That it was not only well written, it was a good character moment, and also well acted by Hamilton. So.
Yes. Oh yeah. No. Had some Yeah, it was a overall positive experience. It's too bad that it's over.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, if this is the last one, all right.
I'm really glad that, like, Hamilton and Schwarzenegger got to work again on a movie, like, simultaneously. Like, there was something really sweet about that, you know? Like, just, like, that nostalgia factor of, like, them getting to act on screen together again.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me, I think I would rather just watch the old movie when it comes to these, like, soft reboots.
Sure.
You know, like, I was thinking about if they were to revisit Alien again. And if they were like, oh, let's do what Blomkamp was going to do. And just say, you know, make a requel. Like they did with Superman Returns. Where it was like, 1 and 2 happened, but 3 and 4 didn't. And with this one, it was like, 1 and 2 happened, but 3 and 4 and 5 didn't. You know? Requels are where it's like a sequel, but they overdo a couple other ones. Or at least that's what I like to call them. But with Alien, I know the Blomkamp wanted to be like 1 and 2 happened, but 3, 4, and 5 didn't either, and none of the Covenants and stuff. For me, I don't know if I want any of those anymore. Like, I don't think, because what's funny is Dark Fate is like a new movie. It's made with the sensibilities, the action sequences, the writing, and the thematic, you know, structure of a modern film. Right. While playing with the franchise from 30 years ago or 25 years ago. And for me, I'm like, okay, right on. Like, and that was kind of like commendable, but also, do I want that? Like, do I want to see the franchise grow up, so to speak, or evolve and be reinterpreted in today's movie making sensibilities? And at the end of the day, I think the answer is a resounding no. Because, like, The Predator is basically like a new action movie, and it's the worst one. Right. The worst one. Somehow, The Predator manages to be worse than AVP and AVPR, and those two are the worst of their respective franchises up until that point. So it's like, every time, it's just quite not there, you know? Like, it's one of the reasons why I refuse to watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that.
Because not only do I not subscribe to that, like, bullshit theory that, like, you know,
no, I don't believe
that Johnny's the real true hero of that story.
Johnny is not the true hero of that story. I'm sorry, everybody. He's not.
Right.
He's just not. It's not Johnny's story.
And he's not even really the bad guy. He's the sensibilities of Karate Kid are so, like, it's actually kind of, like, weird how well it's made because of how, like, simple and silly the premise is.
No,
but, like, even Johnny learns to grow up at the end of that story, and you're like, oh, good for you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Then they're like, no, how about if he, like, never got over losing to a new kid in high school one time?
No, Johnny is like the Zuko.
Yeah,
like
that's how I like to think of Johnny.
The bad guy, and then he's like, "Oh, I was wrong."
Literally, he yells at the ref at the end of Karate Kid, and he's like, "Let me give him the trophy."
Yeah, I want to give it to him.
And he's like, "You're all right," and you're like, "Oh, that's nice. Way to go." Yeah,
good for you, man. You got over it.
Right. Plus, Miyagi's not around, so meh.
Also, Johnny is already winning apparently at life. His family goes to the country club. Like, Johnny's fine.
Oh no,
everybody.
Johnny can't be dumped later by the girl who would have dumped him.
Who's gonna dump Daniel anyway in the next movie? So
right?
It's like,
it'd be actually kind of cute if Johnny.
She's the villain.
Yeah.
She's the villain.
Allie sucks. It'd be actually cute if Johnny drove Daniel to the airport.
Right? They become bros. Like total bros.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a bromance, right?
But again, I don't want to like. I don't think I need my
bad.
franchises to be revisited at this point. I think all they need to do, clean them up, get the original film, clean up the film, re-release them. Like, if you haven't seen T2 in 3D recently, it's the only thing to see in 3D in the last 10 years. Also, because it's so good looking. Well,
I know you don't want any more. I like seeing Linda Hamilton again.
I thought she was great,
and I'm glad she got a check.
I want her to be in more. I just think she's so great. Yeah. And if you're like, oh my god, she looks really weathered in this movie. Like, see her when she's doing the press junket, she looks way okay. Like,
yeah, like
they made her look older.
Yeah, the gray hair, the styling of it helped. Yeah. She looks battle hardened. It's kind of cool.
She does. It is cool. No, I dig it.
She's got some city miles.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Shots of Terminator miles.
So if you're not familiar with this show, we talk about comics, but we wanted to talk a little bit about Terminator because the fact is, movie lost $100 million in the first weekend.
Really sucks.
And so obviously, we're not going to be doing Terminator on this channel much anymore. But if you do like Terminator, there's a playlist right now on this channel where you can watch all the Terminator stuff we've ever done. And as you can see, it matters to me, and I like Terminator, but I'm also not going to waste time and money trying to make like a dedicated video just for Terminator. We did it.
It's true.
We made our Terminator 3 back issues. That's it.
No, and like here's the thing. The reason I'm okay with this movie,
right,
and like the fact that it didn't make its money back, is because, like we said, it sort of put a button on Terminator 1 and 2. Not that we needed one, because Terminator 2 does a fine
Terminator
job
2 ends
of
well
doing
enough.
that. But if you needed to do that, or you just wanted to see them again, this is a fine job of being like,
yeah,
we go.
right,
We're good.
okay,
it's fine, we're all done, and
it's
I'm
true.
like, that's fine, it's over.
Agreed.
It's finally finished.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think that like. For the maybe if there was one vision, it might have been a little better, because it was so weird that it took like 12 people to tell this simple a story. Because it's a pretty straightforward story, and I dug it.
It is pretty straightforward. Anyway,
Yeah. But anyway,
we're gonna talk about some comics.
We are going to talk about some comics, but before we do that, I wanted to mention that we do have a sponsor for today's episode. It's you out there who are using the Super Chats on the live version of the show. We've got a bunch of Super Chats, particularly some huge ones we're going to get to in just a second. But I want to mention, if you do use the Super Chats, you can have a comment or question. You can bring it up here on the show. We'll answer it or address it here on the show, and now you're in the episode, and that's our little back and forth. So if you do feel like sponsoring the show, you can do so by using the Super Chats while you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, I advise you catch the next one, which is Mondays, typically after 5:30.
Yeah, sorry, we
Eastern
were later
Standard Time.
today. That was my fault.
Yeah, Sad Althani, for example, dropping the Benjamins, saying, "Hello, how are you guys? We are doing well, my friend."
Thank you.
And I hope you are doing well as well. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your generosity and your further generosity, which we'll get to in just a second. 2 Mics, 1 Take. Hey, Silent Tiff, what's your favorite Black Label book?
Right now?
Yeah. Well, just in general. There's only been like 4.
Yeah, but some of them are on some early issues, so it's kind of hard for me to call it. Mm-hmm. It's really hard for me to call it.
Yeah.
What about yours? You go first.
I don't know.
You go first.
I don't know if any of them would be my favorite anything. None of them have blown my mind.
Really
or
like Harleen.
Yeah.
And Basket Full of Heads.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that later.
Full of Heads.
It is Basket Full of Heads.
Okay.
Yeah. Last Night on Earth is cool. They're all cool. But not great. Batman Damned, I appreciate what it was trying to do. Then it was like neutered, so that's the end of that.
I dig it, and like the controversy that's like swirled around it is insane. And
Ultimately,
there's just something about that, but like art creates controversy
Right.
at times, and like
for me, I would not have probably liked it even if it was left on its own.
yeah, all right, that's fair. I kind of dug it.
But I'll defend
dark.
But I'll defend to the death its right to exist.
Yes.
TARDIS Man 85 highly recommend Strange Skies over East Berlin.
It's a Boom Studios book written by Jeff Lemire, which
There you
means
go.
it's probably a movie pitch.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
But it does seem neat, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, let's be honest.
It's a movie
It's
pitch.
probably a pitch, but
Yeah.
good on him.
If you don't think Undiscovered Country isn't a movie pitch, then you're kidding yourself. Movie that is straight up. Charles Soule and Scott Snyder were like, "Hey, if we both put our names together, our publicist can like really sell this thing, and then it'll have a huge pre-order. We can tell a movie studio like, look at all the pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a built-in audience for this." It's a movie pitch.
Anyway.
Saddle Thani back in the super chat says things ending is a good thing. I agree. Yeah, no, man. I want them to end, but sometimes they already ended. For me, I'm like, sometimes they already ended.
Yeah, I think for some
you don't need them to.
I think we're in a world of like serialized movies, or at least trilogies.
Yeah.
And so when something doesn't have a third, it's like, but where does it end? It's
Right,
like,
but
it's
what
okay.
about the third one? And it's like, I don't
You don't have to
understand.
have it.
Like, and it's like, thematically sure, but like, I was actually talking about this the other day with somebody about how, I'm like, why? Why do we need a third one? Why is there a third chapter?
Is a powerful number.
True, but who cares? Like, if it's narratively dissatisfying,
Nature does.
why is it most of the time the third chapter sucks?
Comedy comes in threes.
That's not funny. Godfather 3 isn't funny. It's just bad.
I don't know, man.
But yeah. By the way, we had a couple of comments today. It was just so funny. We were called both old and like millennials. Like 2 different comments within the same 2 minutes on 2 different videos.
We were?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Well, not you, but like in the Terminator video, somebody's like, "I can't believe you fuddy-duddies don't like Terminator 3. It's the greatest. You suck. You're old." And I'm like,
I wasn't in that video.
right. And
so
I'm like,
not
right
proud of
on,
that.
you're an idiot. And then it was like the other guy who goes, "Hey, I can't believe those millennials don't understand why Ghost Rider was so cool."
Oh, in the Ghost Rider book?
Yeah, they
Honey,
were like,
I
"I don't
never
understand.
said that he wasn't
Why are they
cool."
confused? Why are they confused by Johnny Blaze having 5 o'clock shadow and driving a motor? Like he's cool. I'm a Gen Xer. I grew up in the '90s. I know these things and why it's cool. I can't believe these millennials didn't get it." I was like, "Millennials? Okay."
Thank you.
Like, well, I hope your lawn's okay.
Well, I guess my problem with that is just how oftentimes those characters are like kind of thrown away or are written off as a joke because they weren't taken. Fine, whatever. Anyway,
whatever. But I like that we were like, we're old and young. We're Schrodinger's hosts.
You are.
Mr. Roboto says, has Marvel done de-pirate age a la X-Pirates?
Done/did Pirate Age.
Oh. I don't know what that means. Like 1602, but pirates? Like an Elseworlds, like Marvel Pirates?
I want that.
No. The Thing was a pirate, and I think that's actually canon. That, like, Benjamin J. Grimm was Blackbeard the pirate? I think that's the idea. But yeah, that would be great. Marvel Pirates. That's a pitch.
Pirates.
Sorry, my super chat box isn't working properly, so I have to scroll through them. Philip Croy, helping us out. Thank you very much. And Kai Williams, love the channel and all the incredible work. Thank you very much. I wanted to hear your honest opinions about the practice, not existence, of pirating comics. I think that some people think...
read that as pirate comics.
Pirate comics! I'm like, what is up with these pirates?
I was like, I don't know, man. Like, pirate comics seem pretty cool. Like, literally, my brain was just trying to come up with pirate comics.
Yeah, pirate comics.
And I was like, okay.
No, the pirating of comics, I think that, like, the reality is you should just, like... If you can't afford comics, you know, I understand the compulsion to steal them because it's the same with music, right? Like, why should I spend $25 on a CD, on an album, when literally I could just type it in and I have it now, or listen to it on YouTube? Like, and what's the difference there? For me, I don't believe in the practice of pirating comics. I think that it is avoidable. I think it's so cheap. Like, ooh, I can't read everything. No, and most people didn't. You know, and if you can, good for you. But if you can't, you gotta pick and choose. And in fact, that's kind of like the market dictating the drive, right? Like, if certain books don't sell, then it means that, like, for the majority of people couldn't prioritize those books. And the reality is, if you pirate them, you're still not helping them survive. Just because you read them doesn't mean that you bought them. So either way, you're contributing to the declination of those books. So you're not helping anybody. So I don't really believe in piracy of comics. I think that it's like... It's largely avoidable, and I don't really think here's the thing. Pirating movies, music, those guys have money to burn. The comic book industry is not the same thing. It wants to be. Yeah. But it doesn't deal with the same number of... you pirating comics actually hurts the industry. You wouldn't download a car, would you? The automotive industry does not need that kind of bullshit. You know, but comics... We're dealing in the hundreds of thousands / early millions. We're not really dealing with like tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and billions here. Yeah. You know, every major movie studio that's making like blockbusters is like, where's the $1 billion movie? I want to make $1 billion with a B. The comic book industry is hoping to make $100,000, a couple $100,000 maybe.
I was gonna say, like, I understand piracy of comics in countries that don't have access to them. Right. Like, that sucks. Like, especially, like, cause you're just like, oh, you just download them, but not everyone even has access through there.
Which is horseshit, by the way.
And if they don't understand how to, like, run, like, a VPN or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, I'm not saying, like, yeah, yo-ho, let's sail the high seas. I'm saying, I kind of get it there, where it's, like, literally you have zero access.
Right, if they will...
That sucks.
Right. Yeah, but I agree. Cash Money in the Bank says, comment section on YouTube, roll eyes. Haters gonna hate. Yeah, I don't even think they were hating. I think they were just baffled. We don't have haters. We have baffled. People who are just like... It's amazing. It's delightful every time. Mr. Roboto says, soon to come, Millennial Ghost Rider one day. We already got that. His name's Robbie Reyes.
Kind of.
He's young. Like, he's what they would call that.
Okay.
That moment in Avengers when, like, his uncle was stepping on him in hell, and he's like, just for the record, before I kill you, you were the worst Ghost Rider. And he's like, yeah, that's a badge of honor. All the Ghost Riders are stupid. And I'm like, that's the most millennial Ghost Rider thing you could possibly say.
I guess in my brain I was making him into a hipster millennial.
Right. No, he's not that.
I know. My brain made that.
Yeah.
Made hipster millennial.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about comics?
We should. Let me talk a little bit about the Tales from the Dark Multiverse, The Death of Superman. This is a run, or an imprint, or a series? What is this? That being said, I talked a little bit about this concept, this idea, last time when they did the Nightfall run.
Yes.
With, with Snyder and somebody else. I can't remember. It kills me. I can't remember his name. They'll let me know in the comments. But like, anyway, it was kind of meh. You know, it was like, oh, I see. You wanted to play with that idea, but you didn't really want to do the reason. This Tales of the Dark Multiverse: Death of Superman was exactly the premise in every respect. This is by Jeff Loveness with art by Brad Walker, and it is fun on a bun. This is straight up cool stuff. It is, if you remembered the Death of Superman, you're going to love this because it's so weird and it's so fun. It is straight up a Elseworlds / What If about the Death of Superman. It's just, what if Lois Lane was so upset, so grief-stricken by the death of Superman, as it was the thing that happened, that she was like, that she developed like a deep resentment of the human race for allowing Superman to die.
Okay. And
I love, by the way, they immediately address the elephant in the room that we talked about on our Death of Superman episode of Back Issues, where we're like, where the hell was everybody? And so once Superman dies, that's when everybody who should have been in the Doomsday fight shows up,
like, hey,
which includes Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Batman, Nightwing. Like, everybody is there. And it's so funny because she's just like, screw you, where the hell were you? And they're all there at the funeral, and they're all there at the unveiling of the statue. But, like, then she hoped, like, maybe his example would allow the world to kind of react.
Right.
Maybe they'll, like, maybe everyone will be like, man, Superman died. Maybe I should be a better person.
Yeah, let's be nice.
You know, like in a Judeo-Christian kind of mindset. Like, he died, we should be better. But it didn't. You know, and she goes to visit Martha, who, of course, Jonathan has a heart attack shortly after Clark dies. He doesn't die in the continuity, but in this one he does, because of course. Because why not? Make it a little sadder. But she's there, and she's like, his parents had to watch him die on TV. They couldn't afford to fly out here to be with him, and if they did, they'd be strangers.
Yeah.
So she goes to the fortress to, like, lock up. And that's when the Eradicator is there.
What?
Like he was in the Death of Superman.
Right.
The Eradicator's spirit form thing that, like, shows up to go into Cal's body, bring it over to the fortress, put it in the cocoon, reanimate his corpse, run around as him. But you know, it's like one of those, it's what if. So it's like, what if Eradicator was like a minute or two too long or too late?
Oh.
Or more likely he wasn't too late. It's more that Lois is there. What if Lois went? Right. What if Lois was a little more resentful than she was? It's like the Leela episode of Futurama, where it's like, what if I were a little more impetuous?
Yes.
In any case, the Eradicator's like, my job is to preserve the Kryptonian bloodline, and he's dead. It didn't work. And I'm surging with Kryptonian energy. And she's like, well, give it to me. So he does, and he imbues her with, like, the power of, like, all of Krypton, and she becomes Superwoman. And she wears this crazy-ass outfit that is, her logo is the Death of Superman S with all the blood falling down, and she's wearing his tattered cape. And she goes around, like, proactively wrecking shit up.
What?
She's like, he didn't get involved. And now that I can feel and hear everything, this is him. They're all crying for his help. Why did he waste time with me? Why did he waste time, like, being Clark? Why wasn't he doing this? So she goes to, like, nations and destroys their shit. And then, like, takes the presidents or dictators who were letting that shit get destroyed and screwing them up too. She's like, no, I'm not just putting out fires. I'm also ruining the people who set fires.
Right.
She goes and confronts Lex Luthor II, who is actually the clone of Lex Luthor. Technically, he was, well, in the continuity, he was supposed to be like his secret Australian son,
right.
But his reality,
part lion man.
Yeah, a clone of Lex Luthor, who has a luxurious red mane, and she's like, I can hear you, I know it's you, and he's like, you got me, and then she just grabs him, pulls him into orbit, and burns him alive. She's like, there. And then she's like, screw that. Man, I killed Lex Luthor. Who else could I kill? She goes to Gotham. She's killing everybody. She tracks down Joker and just burns him with her heat vision. Then Batman shows up and he's like, what the hell are you doing?
He's like, thanks.
No, he is not. He is mad. He should be. But he's great because he's Batman. And it's not like we were like, oh, I want to make our hero look cool, so I'm going to make Batman look like a chode. Or I'm going to make, like, our heroes look stupid too. Batman, like, throws his shit in her face, where he's like, you know, Lois, there are lines, and she's like, I'm so sick of hearing that, and he's like, would Clark have thought that this was okay?
Ooh.
And she's like, well, he's dead, and he's like, yeah, you've dishonored him. like, you're doing all this in his name. You've ruined his legacy. And so she beats the hell out of him, and she taunts him. It's this beautiful moment where she goes, you know, like, Clark felt sorry for you because he knew you wouldn't stop. All he wanted for you is to stop, and you wouldn't. And he's like, I'll never stop. And then she kills him.
What?
Yeah. And by the way, because it's like the 90s, you know, it's 90s Batman. But anyway, so she kills Batman. Then the 4 Supermen show up because it's about that time.
Yeah.
Steel, Superboy, Cyborg, Superman. She's like, I don't care about... obviously, Steel's a black guy in an Iron Man armor. Obviously, the little boy isn't Superman. But the Cyborg guy, he thinks, or he's saying at least, that he's Superman. So I'm going to go kick his ass. So she goes to him and she's like, you're not him. And he's like, you got me, I'm not. I'm Hank Henshaw. Now I'm made of machines and blah. And so she fights him. Then the other 2 Supermen show up. They die. She kills him. Like, the whole thing is a shit show. And she wraps up the reign of the Supermen in literally like 3 pages. And then Superman comes back to life because of course he does. Like he did before.
Yeah.
He wakes up from his Kryptonian healing coma. No, but he's only partially powered, and in the ensuing destruction...
So, wait, why didn't Eradicator know about this? If he's got to preserve the knowledge of Krypton...
He threw him into the thing, and, well, because convenience, because it's a what-if book, because we need to, like, make leaps in logic. But the reality is, when Eradicator put Superman in the healing coma, or the healing vessel, and then went around masquerading as Superman, he had, like, memory problems and didn't remember or know that Superman was either in it or that, like, he was actively trying to preserve him. So in his attempt to resurrect Superman, he thought he was Superman. So it was like kind of a messed up thing. He eventually gets his shit together and then realizes what he's supposed to do.
Right.
Now, of course, if you actually watched our episode of Back Issues where we talked about how 1 Eradicator plus 1 Kryptonian, like, cannon equals Tasty powers for Superman. It's like baking salt. And in this case, Superman shows up and he's in the black suit because that's his healing suit. Mm-hmm. And what you need to shoot Eradicator, because Cyborg Superman shoots Eradicator with this giant hose of kryptonite.
Yeah.
And it blasts Eradicator, and because he's going to kill Superman with it, and Eradicator jumps in the way, and then hits Eradicator, and then his powers pour into Superman, and that gets him up to Superman level powers again. But he's not there anymore. So, like, you know, Lois and Superman finally, you know, find each other again. And he's like, Lois, what are you doing? Like, what have you done? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, man, I didn't know you were going to come back to life. Then Cyborg Superman comes back.
Yeah.
Because he's, like, not quite dead. And they even dispatch him in the same way. In the original thing, Superman punches his lower jaw off. So in this scene, of course, his lower jaw is off.
Right.
He breaks out the thing. But Lois doesn't think to jump in the way of Superman because she's not as selfless as he is.
Right.
And so Cyborg Superman just hoses Superman down with kryptonite and kills him.
But, like, for real this time?
Yeah. And then Lois is just like, what am I going to do now? So the story ends with her...
It's very bleak.
Yeah, it's bleak, but not as bleak as the last one. Like, she could still technically... She didn't become a dictator. She didn't take over the world or kill all the good people.
Yeah.
She was just...
Well, she killed Batman.
Yeah. But she didn't go like, well, now I gotta kill Flash.
Well, she killed one.
She killed Batman because she knew Batman could stop her.
I like the fact that, like, Batman clearly must have known that she killed Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And he did not stop her until after she killed the Joker.
Yeah.
He was like, hang on a second.
Well, I don't think he was fast enough.
No,
he's like...
Hang on.
All right.
Hey, no, what have you done?
Yeah, no.
Ooh.
TARDIS made a point where there's a line where Superman says, why are they scared of you? It's great. Because it's like Lois Lane fundamentally misunderstands the message of Superman.
Well, she's grief-stricken.
But she's also grief-stricken, but it's like, that's why he's Superman. Like, why not everyone can be Superman.
Right.
Which is also illustrating the whole theme of, like, the Death of Superman saga. Like, it's this brilliant piece of schlock that is also really, like, I don't know, respectful to the source material.
Right.
Which is to say, like, why would it be? Because, you know, it's the source material, the Death of Superman.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. This is what this premise should be. This book should be what it's always... Next issue is Blackest Night. I have no idea what they're going to do with that.
Maybe they don't come out the other side.
Probably not. Zebrum says, I just want to say you think you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
I think you're awesome, Zebrum. Thank you very much.
You're awesome.
General Harris says, cannot wait for Life Story back issues. Yeah, we're going to have to shoot that at some point.
Yeah.
I can't wait myself. TARDIS Man 85, Hawks Pox probably made at most $10 million tops. I mean, if that, I doubt it.
I guess all of it?
Yeah. Depends on how many units are sold. You know, like at $4 a pop, you know, per issue, 165. Yeah, maybe. But like $10 million is like the lowest budget of a horror movie. You know, that's not the profits they're hoping to get in the movie industry. Caleb Paris says, hey, Sal and Tiff, if you could pitch a dark multiverse story, what would be the premise? I mean, like, they're all awesome and what they're pitching is great. I'm trying to think of a fun story that I like.
Sounds like an Elseworld.
Yeah, I'll just make that an episode. Thank you very much for your contribution, Caleb. But like, I'll
give a quick one.
Yeah,
give something off the top of your head.
Killing Joke.
Oh, yeah, that's
right.
Good.
He shoots Gordon instead. You know.
Oh, interesting.
There you go. That's at least something to see. Yeah, Killing Joke.
I got nothing. I'll come up with something.
Price 8040. The next Dark Multiverse is Blackest Night, but I'm kind of sad it's not about Parallax. Then again, that's dark by default. Let's hope. I want to see a 0-hour one. I want to see Parallax. I'm sure we'll see that. But yeah. So anyway, jumping into the more books.
More books.
What'd you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do? It's a fine question. Let's chat about... I was all over the place today. There's a couple things I didn't even really get to. That's one of them I didn't get to.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not going to do Spider-Man.
You're not?
No. It came out. It's fine. If you're reading Spider-Man, enjoy. Check it out.
Let's chat about Doctor Strange, the annual, number 1. Came out today. It's 2 stories in one. The first one, A Hallowed Evening, is written by Teenie Howard.
Yeah.
With art by Andy McDonald. And it was fine.
Cool.
That was it. It was fine. It was kind of all over the place, and I wasn't the biggest fan of this story. It was just okay.
Okay.
It returns Zelma into the story.
Oh.
So I was like,
why would they do that?
Well, I was like,
they just got rid of her.
I was like, when is this taking place? Except he's wearing his costume from the current run, his space costume. Yeah. So I don't know, but it's Halloween basically, and he's got a bunch of magical characters at his house, and like they basically have to like use magic to like create a barrier to like keep like hold the line basically, because like the veil between our world and like others or in other dimensions and other such things is weakest at this time. Yeah. And especially between that and the afterlife. And basically if any ghosts show up and they like need help with anything, they'll like offer to help them at another point in time. And so like it's just like ghosts show up and like Zelma like bumbles her way through things, and I was like, Zelma was a lot more competent the last time we saw her. Like, I get, like, you know, when we first met her, she was like, whatever. Yeah. But, like, they kind of return her to that in this, and it's just kind of, like, I think it was an interesting sort of concept, but, like, doesn't really pan out the way I feel like it should have. And, like, there's, like, a bunch of, like, groaner jokes in this one, unfortunately.
Well, she's not even doing this book. It's just, she was kind of, like, just pitch hitting for Mark Waid in this story, right?
Like, neither is written by...
I know.
By Waid, I guess because he's gearing up for Surgeon Supreme.
Yeah.
The other one, I guess I have to go all the way back to find out who wrote the other one? Ugh. What the hell? No, I don't. I just don't see it. Okay. The other one is called Trick, which I thought was neat, because then I was like, oh, wait, like, was the first one called Treat? No. I was like, damn it.
Oh.
What the hell? Maybe they're both written by Teenie Howard. I just...
That would make sense. They would usually put them all together. Like, the credits, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, no, there it is. Wow, it's just right underneath it. It's written by Pornsuk Pishote.
Cool.
Penciled by Lalit Kumar Sharma.
Okay.
I may or may not have casted a spell just there.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
This one was way tighter, and like I felt like it was more interesting. It's about these 2 dudes, Trevor and Connor, who have like scary masks, and they wander around, and like Trevor and Connor realized at an early age they're foster brothers, that like when they were together they had like powers that would like activate with one another, and like one was the power that they could like slip into different places, and the other was they could find things they wanted to steal basically. And like then they realized that like that wasn't exciting enough, and inevitably they ended up like murdering people as well, like to get a thrill kind of thing. And like they're like, and no one can stop us because like, you know, nobody knows we're even there, blah blah blah. So they break into like a hotel, like a high-rise hotel, and like they're greeted by a scary demon, and it turns out they're at the Inferno Hotel in Vegas.
Oh.
And they're like, one of them is like taken away, and like I believe we like find out like, oh, there's something more about him, like he's like messed up looking. He's looking for this like sword dagger thing, and he finds it. and then he uses it to kill his friend, I believe, or the
foster brother.
Yeah, hang on. Which foster brother makes it? Okay, no. The foster brother who finds it is murdered by the other, like the one who was able to slip them in. And then like Wong shows up and he's like, "Hey, what's up? You're at the Inferno Hotel," which is where Wong is stationed to watch over Mephisto. And he's just like, "You're not a kid. You're a demon."
Okay.
And so he reveals himself and like basically like this demon had set this whole thing up from the get-go. He needed this kid to be able to like, find the item because that's what the kid's power was. Okay. And like the item is something that I will not even pretend I can pronounce.
Okay.
But it's meant to kill Sorcerer Supremes.
Oh.
And so he's just like, got it. And then Wong like snaps and it busts in two. Mm-hmm. And then he like basically like sends him off to hell. Like he's like, off you go. And like he's there with one of his like buddies from the monastery, basically. Like Wong like had a visitor and the visitor was like, "Oh man, look at you now, blah blah blah." And he's just like, so wait, you got like this sword that can kill a Sorcerer Supreme? He's like, "No, the sword isn't it. It's like that's just a decoy." It's like, I have the spell for that. And the idea is that like they establish in this that the like servants of the Sorcerer Supreme, like their like trusted companion Wong, for example, is given a spell that could kill the Sorcerer Supreme were they to go crazy.
Right.
And
it's their kryptonite ring.
Exactly. And in doing so, it would also kill that individual, so they won't use it lightly.
Right.
And like I was like, that's kind of interesting. This idea of like, this balance. Like, what is the balance to the Sorcerer Supreme? It's this. Now, truly, I'm sure they could figure out some way to make it not happen.
Sure.
But it's nice to know they had some kind of plan. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there is a plan.
Right.
And so that was it. Like, that was just, it was a tight little story that like establishes this thing that may or may not ever be used.
Right. Probably not.
Probably not.
Because Wade doesn't read other people's stories. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you read DCeased number 6?
I did!
It was the finale of DCeased for now.
I was like going to not, and then I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to hear about it on the show. I want to read it. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, it's good. It's great.
Okay, I feel like I'm way more excited than you are
Well,
about this.
it's great. Yeah. DCeased number 6. It's great.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. If you're not familiar with the premise, it's a zombie apocalypse, but it's made by Apocalypse. Apocalypse with a K.
We really shouldn't ruin the ending to this.
No, I'm not going to.
The ending to this is truly spectacular, and like it's filled with these like really crazy, incredible moments.
Yes.
That like are just like holy crap.
Yeah, you really should just buy it. Let's just put it this way: you see, every protagonist in the story, every main character, every main member of the cast gets a moment to be awesome.
Yeah.
We have a merging of science and magic. We have the
meeting of the land and the sea in a way.
A meeting of land and sea. Men topple gods. It's an unending like love letter to awesome.
Yes.
And also we see civilizations fall and desperate displaced people try to survive, and it's really, really cool, and I don't want to like wreck it any more than that.
I really don't. Like I would love to talk about this more, but like I really like to ruin the ending of this book is like kind of doing it a disservice, which is so bizarre because this is supposed to be such a throwaway thing.
Yep.
And it just turned into such a like really badass story.
Yep.
That I hope we get to do on this channel someday because I really like.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it more.
Really like this.
There's no way it's not going to end with a sequel. This is the kind of book where I'm sure the sales were good. Tom Taylor also helped make Injustice worth reading, and that was supposed to be a video game tie-in that became like year 7.
Right. No, I know, but like here's the thing, I kind of don't want it anymore.
Right.
I mean, they definitely like there's the possibility for it.
Oh, you'll get it.
But like I don't even think I want it.
Right.
Like I am very happy with this ending.
Yes, I will say screw the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But you get some cool moments, and you get it's nothing but cool moments.
It's
it's literally just a nonstop
cool moments
throw-on.
and like heart tugging.
Yeah.
Like
it's
dialogue.
a great blend. It's not just stupid or nonstop fighting.
It's true.
But even then, like even in the fighting, you get like tender moments. It's really cool. Silver Cricket says, any thoughts on Dead Man Logan finale? I didn't read it. I saw the title. I'm like, cool, they're going to kill Old Man Logan. Moving on.
So my issue with Dead Man Logan was, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the art
No.
kind of struggled with it, so I fell off.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Sorry.
I'm not going to blame you for that, because I didn't.
I poked in, I checked the preview for it, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Anyway.
Joe Leone says, you make enough Futurama references for me to know you're a fan. There are Futurama comics. Maybe a back issue someday? I'd be all over that. Maybe. There's one Futurama book that we would do.
Is it the
Where
crossover?
Mm-hmm. It's around here. It should be under S. Or F. Oh, well. It's here. There it is. Yeah. Let me know in the comments down below. Back issues? I've been thinking about doing this for a few years. There are a couple of stories in here, but we do the main one. Or maybe the second one. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. And if you haven't read it already, I don't think Bongo exists anymore, so you should check it out. Lemon Piece says, have you heard the DC 5G rumors that it's going to be like an all-new, all-different type initiative? Mm-hmm. What are the odds they're true? If it's true, it could help push the alt characters. I have heard it. I assume it's true. It would not help push new characters so much as it would be like a quick fix for sales. You know, it's like, oh, a lot of people are going to buy it right here, and then it'll fall off because the only people who are going to... Here's the thing. You want to get new people, right? You're going to get them by fostering positive word of mouth and with good stories, you know? If you're going to get people with like a stunt, then you're going to get all these different people who are going to come in, but they're not there to read it. Mm-hmm. They're there to buy it and then put it away.
Yeah. And
maybe sell it immediately afterwards. They're there to make sure that you, the regular reader, don't get it when you should have gotten it, and by all rights, there would have been 1,000 copies in your store. Mm-hmm. That doesn't help the industry. It makes a bunch of money right now, but it doesn't foster, a legacy of readership. So, pass.
Okay.
Kevin Kruger says...
How about a dark Multiverse Millennium book?
That'd be great.
Okay.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that in a heartbeat. All their bad books, like every silly, like Legends or Millennium.
Or Guy Gardner Reborn.
Guy Gardner Reborn would be great. Oh,
some sort of dark multiversal version of Gnort shows up.
I would love that.
No, I would not love that.
Oh, Armageddon 2001, Bloodlines. I would love just a trade paperback of Bloodlines. Anyway. Yeah, you read a bunch of books, but let's jump into like one or two more.
Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna go too far into Harleen. It continues to be awesome.
Yay!
And that's all I'm gonna really say. Like, this
is a Black Label book, by the way.
It is a beautiful Black Label book. Stefan Sajic, it's like a love letter from him in terms of like everything to the character exactly. If you like Harley. But maybe sometimes you're turned off by the madcap. Sometimes they take
the Deadpoolization of this character.
Yeah, and sometimes they take her that very far, and I get it that it's definitely part of her history. This book might be more for you. It's more of an examination of her character, her mental state, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So go check it out. It's also just like really stunning. We do get an image of Harley here, but that's kind of it. It's Harleen. It's about Harleen.
That's cool.
That's not to say what's to come next, but
sure.
Excellent. I didn't get to this one, so
okay.
We can make that one go away. Conan! The final fate of Conan the Barbarian was spectacular this week. We have been seeing Aaron writing these like stories of Conan's history, and then get a little bit about this whole Blood Witch and like all that stuff. This is just all right. Let's chat about the Blood Witch. Let's chat about how she actually ended up having kids. We get a little of her backstory, how she's been like desperately searching for warriors, just killing them, and they're never quite what they say they are. And so they never quite feed the roots. And so we get a little bit of that like history on her, and that like she's like the guy we see at the very beginning ends up fathering her children. Yeah. And she's like, that's cool and whatever. And so she raises them on like, the idea that like Razazel is like, the blood god, and we gotta, rise him and blah, blah, blah. And we get it from their perspective when Conan kills their mom and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that like when like he leaves, they're like, okay, we have our daggers, we're gonna kill ourselves because like we shouldn't die in a fire, which is what has happened to the building Conan sets it ablaze. Yeah. And instead like their mother like rises up with her head half hacked off and like carries them out, and they're like, wow, blood god's awesome. Right. So then like they sew her head back on, and they try to like bring her back, like heal her via like feeding her blood and stuff like that. Sure. And like they're twins, and so like the brother's like, when do you think mom will be able to talk to us again? And she's like, Like, never? Like, I think this is pretty much as far as she's going. Like, she'll protect us and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, how will we know that she loves us? And then, like some dudes show up or, like, some guy, like, tries to attack them. They started it. They tricked them, like, these dudes into helping them.
Right.
And then, like, they slaughtered them.
Not unlike how John Connor tricked those poor guys into getting attacked by the Terminator.
Exactly. Except, you know, way worse. So she kills, like, the guy and, like, as she's, like, eating this dude, like, your sister's like, that's the sound of our mother's love. And I'm like, oh, you're creepy.
Yeah.
You're creepy little blonde children
weird,
of the corn. Get out of here.
Get your creep away.
Right? And so then the two kids, like, watch Conan throughout history, and we see some of the stories that we were told by Aaron that they've been there. And, like, the brother's like, let's take him. And she's like, no. He's not ready. That's where Mom made the mistake. Oh. He wasn't ripe. That's why he kicked her ass.
Yeah.
Like, we have to wait until, like, he's got a long life to go. Trust me on this one.
Right.
And so we just see them, like, stopping in, checking it out, right? Like, there's definitely some moments where they're like, there's no way he's going to get out of this one. And she's like, he will.
Yeah.
It's cool. And we see the one with him and the lion and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that lion. It's such a good story. And then we see Conan there, and, like, they're, like, doing the bloodletting, and, like, they, like, aren't, like, he can't escape, and, like, the tower that they're in, they reconstructed it, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's not strong enough to withstand the magic of the blood.
Okay.
And so, like, it's starting to crumble as Razazel is, like, being rebirthed, or Razazel, I don't know. And it's, like, crumbling down. Conan tries to make a break for it. He actually ends up getting, like, crushed by some rocks.
Oh, no.
And they have to finish the bloodletting. And, like, they're like, no, it's cool. We found him. We found Conan. Here he is. And, like, he's just laying amongst the rocks. And they're like, he is dead.
What?
And I'm like, no, he's not.
No, he's not. Well, he can't be.
Or he can be. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They could resurrect him.
Yeah, he could just come back, right? Like, maybe that chick will show.
Oh, no. Yeah.
This book just continues to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I love it. So, high recommend on my end. Let's talk real quickly about Constantine. Constantine's back.
Oh, yeah. The Sandman Universe Hellblazer book.
Yeah, Sandman presents
Hellblazer.
Written by Simon Spurrier with art by
Marcio Takara.
Yeah, who I believe was was not doing. I was like, were they doing that? No, they weren't doing that. The cover artist did The Dreaming.
Yeah.
I won't talk too much about this book.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it's some crazy ass shit. It is definitely written more in the vein of Vertigo. And it seems like this might have been the book that Spurrier wanted to write from the beginning.
Now, Spurrier had been working on The Dreaming, correct? That was their book.
Yeah.
Maybe like if you do the Dreaming, you can have Constantine.
Right. Now, this is definitely I don't know if it's necessarily a crossover. I have not been keeping up with books of magic. I'm just gonna put that out there. But Tim is in this.
Yeah.
Tim, of course, has, like, a potentially, like, always, like, a possible dark fate and a possible, like, you know, savior kind of, like, path that he could take.
Mm-hmm.
Said to be, like, one of the, like, possibly the most powerful magic user ever.
Yep.
And so he's there. It's kind of the end of all things, which I thought was funny because Justice League Dark has been dealing with, like, ending of magics and all that stuff, and they're doing something very different here. They're not tying it into that at all.
No, good.
This Constantine is getting back to, again, that Vertigo feel, but with a modern storytelling like tone to it in a way. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying it's Vertigo. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying, though, that it has those, like, some of those, like, little elements to it. Like, those echoes are there.
Yeah.
There's definitely, like, not like saying, like, super mature language, but, like, you'll find some stuff in there. You're like, oh, cool. All right. Yes. Thank you. This is, like, this is how John talks to some degree. It's definitely a mystery.
Okay.
100%. This Constantine is a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to reading more about him. I was legitimately, like, I was like, all right, fine, I'll check it out. We'll see what we're doing with this. Like, some of these have been a little softer starts.
Yeah.
This one, I was like, I'm jazzed. I'm
nice.
jazzed to see where this is going. Like I said, if you're expecting, like, that, like, original Vertigo feel for Hellblazer, look, you may not find that 100% here, but this is a step in the right direction, in my opinion. So,
cool.
There you go.
All right. Really quick, I want to jump into the super chats again because Saud El-Thani helping us out in a big bad way. Thank you very much, man, for all your continued support, particularly in this episode. It says 5G screams Bendis' terrible naming and lack of longevity. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a Bendis suggestion. 5G, why would you call it that?
I don't understand that at all. I mean, unless they're going to set it up like it's a series of lines on your phone and then a 5G next to it.
Yeah, and how that's bullshit. It doesn't really mean anything. It's made up.
Hey, it actually worked pretty well.
When we were in New York. Yeah, that's
that
true.
wasn't too bad.
But yeah, no, I feel like it's the new guard or any of the older problems that are plaguing DC. And a lack of longevity, big time. I mean, like, look at DCU. That didn't last long. Yeah, so I agree with that. Lemon Piece says, also Dark Multiverse Cosmic Odyssey would be cool. I agree with that.
Yeah.
You can go darker than Jon Stewart allowing an entire civilization to die.
Yeah.
You could go way darker than that.
Yes.
So yeah, I like that. Did you want to talk about Basket Full of Heads?
Do.
Because that's another Black Label book.
Really want to talk about this one.
Well, you should, because people were asking for your opinion.
Basket Full of Heads, written by Joe Hill. If you don't know, Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King.
Yep.
This book takes place in Maine.
What? Well, he would know anything about that.
It's about a small, like, sea town, whether it be an island or not, that, like, is in the midst of the end. Like, if we're coming to the end of the summer, Labor Day is occurring. There is the beginning of this book literally starts off where it's like, there is a basket, something is talking out of it.
Yes.
There is an American flag over it, and someone's carrying a crazy-ass axe.
Oh,
You're
no.
like, where is this going?
Yeah.
Well, let's go back. And we go back to being introduced to a character, I believe his name is Liam. He is basically being like a deputy for the local sheriff's department for the summer. It's like a summer internship because he wants to be a cop. His girlfriend, who's not from the town, comes up to say hi to him and like basically pick him up.
Yeah.
For like the summer, spend a little time, and then they're gonna go back to school. He had a great time there. He really wants to be in law enforcement, officer, agent, FBI, whatever.
Okay.
Everybody knows him in town and stuff like that, but like he's done for like the day.
Yeah.
A bunch of convicts end up like making a fugitive-esque escape.
Oh.
And like they come across it.
Yeah.
They come across the scene. He's like, "Oh crap!" And he puts his uniform back on. And he's like, "Hey, can I help? Can I help at all?" And they're like, "It's okay, kid. You're good." Like the sheriff really likes him. He's like, "You're a good guy.
Okay.
I wish I could keep you on, but like, we're like, this is it. You were a deputy for it now. And when you get out of school, if the FBI hasn't snatched you up, like, I would be honored basically to have you here.
Okay.
But like for now, like we're good. Those guys escaped. They're probably gonna steal a boat and they're just gonna go to Canada. Nothing they've done is horrible, right?
Right.
There's a mayor there who's literally the mayor from Amity Island.
Right.
And I say that because there is a moment. Go back a couple pages. It's spectacular where he looks at him. It's this one right there, and he goes like, "Now I want you to find these little breakout bastards and string them up by the Buster Browns."
Oh
and I was like,
God.
That's awesome.
They just want you to think.
They just want you to think Jaws. Like,
Yep.
you're in that moment, and it's just such a great little nod. Like, it's just like these little, like, oh, yeah, we're in the sea town or
Yeah.
whatever. They rely on the summer dollars, that kind of thing.
Right.
Luckily, it's Labor Day at this point, so this isn't really going to affect anything. Like, the summer's over. They're good. They've come out the other side.
Right.
So, like, the sheriff's like, you should go home or go back to my house because the kid's been staying on his, like, houseboat or whatever.
Okay.
There on the sheriff's, like, land.
Yeah.
And his wife had made like a big clam bake for them for like to celebrate like that he was like leaving and like whatever. It's very nice. And he's like, go back there, I'll hold down the fort, you can watch over my wife. And like the joke is that like nobody needs to watch over her. Like,
right.
He's like, honestly, if those guys showed up, I don't know who I'd feel worse for. It's revealed that they that she or he collects artifacts, or that like the sheriff is into like Viking stuff, and she gets all these Viking items for him and stuff like that. And we see the axe from the beginning, and it's like glowing red a little bit, like something's up, something's clearly going to happen with this axe. Inevitably they have dinner, but then like a call comes in, and it's from the sheriff that someone died. Someone's been murdered or not murdered. Because basically some dude ended up falling down a whole bunch of stairs, and like he's like, it's obvious that to the sheriff it's like they clearly were trying to make their getaway. He either tried to stop them or he just tripped and he hit every single stone on the way down.
Okay.
And he's dead. And so like the wife's gonna go out and hang out with the family, and like she's like, I've only had to do this a handful of times, but like I'm gonna go. He's like, her son takes her out there, so now it's just the deputy and his girlfriend in the sheriff's house, and they're just hanging out or whatever, and like the guys show up.
Oh no.
And it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? But it's like they're stuck in this house with these two convicts and this crazy magic axe, obviously.
Right.
So like they're really setting up the small town vibe. Oh, I should mention it takes place in the 80s, so there's no tech. We've
right. There's no
removed
phones.
that element.
There's no surveillance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, I really like the feel of this. I love the fact that it's a Black Label book because they are obviously there's probably going to have a little gore to it. You know, we haven't seen too much of it just yet, but I'm excited.
Cool.
I'm excited to see where this goes. I like a lot of Joe Hill's work, so
nice.
Yeah, I always want to call him Joe Chill, but
that would not be complimentary.
But that's not it. So if you're looking for a Black Label book that is 100% not Batman related, this is probably for you.
Yeah, there's no superheroes. It's
there's
just
no
a book.
superheroes. This is just a horror.
It's just a Boom
book.
Studios book.
Yeah, or a Vertigo book.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Silver Cricket says, you could retcon old John pretty easily just by saying he's in Earth 3 John, and John Prime is still on Earth 3 helping the Resistance. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes. Okay. Maybe.
This is about Hellblazer.
Yes.
But yeah.
There's
There's multiple Johns. I saw that collage. One of them looked like Keanu Reeves John.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that. Like literally, like an older version of John shows up.
Oh, cool.
And like Constantine, like our John is dying at the time, and like old John's able to tell him a whole bunch about himself, and then like John takes a cigarette, he burns his hand, and the guy's like, and like he's got the scar there.
Yeah.
And John's like, son of a.
Yeah, nice.
Bollocks.
Cash Money in the Bank, giving us some. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Enjoyed Excalibur #1 so much. I spent the weekend reading Excalibur Epic Collection #1. I'm normally not into Claremont, but the Arthurian legend dimension jumping just caught my imagination. Have y'all read these series before? Yes,
No.
I have. Yeah. So why don't we talk about Excalibur? Why don't we, the last book of the night, Excalibur #1.
Yeah. Let's be honest. I did not know what I was getting into with this book, and like, well, yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, Excalibur #1 from Tini Howard. This story is another of the many, Hickman era, whatever X-Men stories, Krakoa, mutantdom, blah blah blah. What does the Krakoan thing have to do with magic, you might ask? Well, quite a bit, as a matter of fact. And it affects one of the most probably influential characters to be added to the roster post Hawks and Pox, which is, of course, Apocalypse, or as he'd like to be referred to as Apocalypse, in Krakoan.
Yeah, no, listen, Apocalypse, you didn't write Purple Rain.
Right.
You're not.
Yeah, you don't get to be like a logo. Plus, what are you going to do with all those A belt buckles you have? But yeah, so the concept here is that, like, in the, I don't know, is it in the past? Because Morgan Le Fay is whatever.
It's
in the
not,
other
because
realm?
it's the other realm, which is like, I don't think it's the past, but like we have dealt with Morgan Le Fay before in terms of Iron Man going back and possibly banging her.
Yeah. Well, and Doctor Doom in a big way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But in any case, the other realm is being affected by Krakoa. The Krakoan roots are entering into the waters of Avalon and causing...
Yeah, like a seed sprouted up there.
Yeah.
Like
because that's the idea, is that, like, Krakoa is everywhere, and so it needs to be also in the magic realms, and but the doorway that opens, it was opened from the magic side, and you can't open it.
Yeah, from our side.
From our side. Apocalypse wants to get in there. So
real bad.
So he tricks a couple of X-Men into helping him out.
Like uncomfortably bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and that's the story. The story is there's essentially Morgan Le Fay is like, you need to get rid of these mutants. They're polluting my magic. And they've never done this before, so obviously this is like a new development, which is why Morgan Le Fay has never really been an obstacle for the X-Men before. I love it, and I know you did too. What do they call the mutants?
Which breed?
Oh, shit!
Which is from 1602. Maybe they called it Excalibur. I never read Excalibur.
They straight up did not.
Which is like, by the way, I opened this book up. We're in like Camelot. There's Morgan Le Fay, and I'm like, where have you been all my life, Excalibur?
Yeah.
Because like I love that shit.
Over there. Excalibur's great. Excalibur's really fun. Although I found Captain Britain a little dry.
In this?
In the original run.
Oh, in the original
Yeah,
one.
Brian is hard to read. I don't know. He's just really stuffy.
Okay.
He's stuffy in this too, but it works out fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
He's Britain, though. He's British.
That's true,
He can't help himself.
Yeah.
No
Betsy
offense.
Braddock, a.k.a. Psylocke, now out of the Asian body into an actual, into the twin sister of Brian Braddock, her old body. She's going to Krakoa because she's a mutant. Brian can't come.
No.
And she's kind of like, she is very interesting because she's like, I identify as a mutant, and I've been an X-Man. But like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, the whole thing.
She has like a really genuine.
Well,
she has the kind of reaction that I would, where I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna say no to paradise.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm obviously gonna take I'm getting on the lifeboat.
Yeah.
But
It's weird.
y'all are having a really creepy party on it.
Yeah. Also, she has another reason to have that it's weird.
Yes, her deceased brother Jamie.
Well, I was gonna say person who she used to inhabit the body of
is there.
Or
Yeah.
like, yeah, so she's like,
Yeah.
hey, does anyone else want to go over here?
Yeah.
Away from you?
Right.
I mean, you.
We do a couple of establishing things in this book, which is like, it's easily just like a whatever. If you don't want to read this, you don't have to. But Goldballs gets a new nickname.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be
Goldballs anymore. He's Egg.
He's Egg.
That sucks. That's almost as bad as Beak. But at least he doesn't look like a freaking chicken man.
I guess I'd rather be Egg than Goldballs.
I don't know. Goldballs is pretty cool.
Like, maybe, like, next time, like 4 more changing his names, he'll have something that is decent.
Yes. So essentially, there's like a secret war between magic and mutants.
Right. Witchbreed
and Morgan Le Fay.
Right, because essentially she's saying that I guess Krakoa itself is messing up her pool, and so like she cuts off like any humans who have access to magic in our world off from using her magic. She's like, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Right?
Goodbye.
Which I thought was interesting because I'm like, oh man, does that mean that like, is this the death of magic in the Marvel Universe as per Morgan Le Fay? Like, no, I think it's dark magic.
No, I think it's specifically her. Like, if you were tied to what she had, like Avalonian magic or whatever, like Fayian magic.
Yeah.
Then like you're in trouble.
Right.
So she calls forth like a coven to come assist her, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they get their own coven going on
Yeah,
our
Apocalypse
side.
tricks Rogue into using her powers on the doorway, which
Gambit is like, don't do that. He sucks.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at him.
They also talk about the possibility of having kids because, of course, if you're not familiar, Gambit and Rogue are married.
Right. Yeah, they're married. They're on Krakoa.
And they're talking about the third law.
She mentions that, but like then Gambit's like, oh hey.
Oh, anything else?
Oh.
No, he loves her.
No,
He's trying to like protect her.
He does.
Anyway, she's thrown into a Sleeping Beauty type situation, so that like
it's like she absorbed the power of Krakoa.
Yeah, like she could
but like
grow
also
plants and
something
whatnot.
else came through.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if like something that is somehow tied to Krakoa didn't grow the gate on the other side.
Yeah.
You know
something.
what I mean?
Yeah, something is trying to use. Well, yeah, something and Krakoa are working in Legion together to like get something done. We don't know what it is yet, but it's pretty neat. But Morgan, of course, has used Brian Braddock, aka Captain Britain. She's corrupted him, turned him into kind of like a Black Knight.
Yeah.
Not the Black Knight.
No.
But in any case, they do battle. She and the twins.
Yeah, because like she basically like he derives his power from this amulet, I suppose, which is tied to Avalon or the other world. Mm-hmm. And so instead she substitutes that power with her own.
Yep. And takes the amulet.
And well, no, he
gives her the amulet.
He gives Betsy it because he's just like he gives it to her because he's like, oh, I don't need this anymore, and he's using it as a ruse, as like he's able to barely hang on to his personality and who he is, and he sends her away with it. Like she's able to use it to transport back to Earth, where now she is the new Captain Britain
and
with like a Psy sword, like a
Psy Excalibur.
Yeah,
she looks cool.
She does look cool.
Just technically speaking. This is a dope-looking Captain Britain.
Yeah.
I just love it. And you got some X's in there, so it's like Captain X Britain or whatever. It's a mutant Captain Britain.
You gotta watch out for that because you're gonna get into Brexit territory.
I know. Yeah. But and so we're setting up this conflict.
Yeah, and like this book was good. I enjoyed it, and I definitely want to read more about it simply because of the Arthurian lore and like the magic involved with it. So I'm excited for this. I'm not excited about like learning about the machinations of Apocalypse, where it's just like, I'm doing something.
Well,
yeah,
of course he is.
I know you're doing something. Oh, and Jubilee's part of the thing.
Yeah, and Jubilee too. That was the most shoehorning moment where they're like, Jubilee, you talked to her for a minute. You should join the team.
That's where for a second I was like, like, if you just want Jubilee to show up, literally just have her walk in
and go
be
like,
what
hey,
are you doing?
I have nothing to do on this friggin' rock.
I have a kid and he's sleeping. What's up? You want to have an adult conversation for more than a second?
Yeah.
Like,
it was very hand wavy,
Yes.
and I'm like, if you just want Jubilee in the book, just put her in the book.
Yeah,
Don't-
that was really the moment for me where it crumbled for a second. Or I was like, what?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was like, this is kind of fun. Yeah, like
No,
they
it
don't all
did.
have to be important.
No.
Even though it feels important.
Well, the fact that Apocalypse is involved is where,
Exactly.
I
that makes it
figure-
indispensable. Where you're like, oh, I need to know what's going on in Excalibur.
Right. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I will see because I definitely, I was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Again, opening the book like that, for me, was like, I was like,
Oh, you got me.
oh.
Yeah.
And then Witchbreed, I was like,
Oh, that I was like, what? Yes. Cash Money in the Bank says, like, glad you liked Excalibur too, because I'm here for it.
oh,
Yeah.
no, it really did.
I loved it. I enjoyed it. I thought the art was good. It is tonally completely different from every other book
No, it
in
definitely
the
is.
X-Men pantheon.
No, it definitely is. And I think for some people, because, the last book with Marauders, it was a little more lighthearted, but it
Yeah.
still had that feel
Exactly.
of, what Hickman was doing, so it felt more tied in.
Yeah.
But they may not all feel like that. But, there was something about the art in this book that made it feel... again,
Connected.
not quite as at the level,
Nope.
but, still felt that connection
Yes.
with the overarching stories and had that kind of lightheartedness to some degree.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
By the way, there's a theory about Kitty. We had a theory that, Kitty can't go through the doors. This is talking about Marauders.
Yeah.
She gotta go through the door because she can phase, because Moira's like, I don't want you seeing what I'm doing.
Oh.
But the other theory, of course, which we may have already thought about, is that she's a copy.
Yeah.
And that,
That's what I assumed the
copies
Kitty Pryde
can't
theory
come
was.
through or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, well, there's already another one of her someplace else, and
Yeah.
so, that one's already there, and Krakoa maybe has a count.
Right. Which is messed up.
Yeah.
We'll see what that means.
Right.
Sad Othani back. in the
Thank
Super
you
Chats. Thank you
so
so
much.
man. Why do you think they can speak... Why do they think we can speak to Apocalypse like that? I don't know. Yeah. Well, Apocalypse in the book, if you're not familiar, if you haven't read it, he keeps referring to himself as the Krakoan lettering for Apocalypse. And he's like, I prefer to be called bleh.
Oh, I assume he meant, why do they think that they can speak to Apocalypse like that?
Right.
They're literally, Betsy just goes up to him and just has, a very casual, she's like, I don't have time for you right now.
Yeah.
I don't have time for you right now. And it's
okay.
that's kind of bizarre.
Because he's an equal now. Because he's here.
I
You're
guess.
in paradise now. You said yes. You're part of the. You're
Yeah.
not in the inner circle, man.
But he is. He's part of the government.
Yeah, but you're not but you're part of the government. But that doesn't mean that you're better than me.
Yeah, but he thinks he's better than
Right,
they
but he's
are.
about to learn.
And he's still crazy powerful.
Yeah.
So I still might be concerned about that.
I
No,
would.
but I agree. It was very conversational. I mean, I get Gambit
Very-
because Gambit
yeah.
can't help himself.
No, I do like that they're all like, shut up, Apocalypse. Because now they finally feel comfortable. I think it's because they all feel at home.
They're all drunk.
Right. Just constantly drinking of the
Krakoan
fermented
wine.
Krakoan juice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They're drinking the Kool-Aid all right.
I thought you meant why do they think that they could speak Apocalypse, that they can say his name like that? And it's
Yeah.
and I by the way, just if you're not familiar, apparently they all get psychic implant of the language.
Yeah, I assumed that.
Mr. Roboto says, what about chaos magic? That might be a thing. Yeah, I don't think that's Morgan Le Fay's magic, though. I'd take that retcon.
Ooh.
Chaos magic is just Morgan Le Fay's magic.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
It'll be what Krakoa turns it into.
Yeah. Kevin Kruger says, was Gambit going to be Cyclops' brother at one point?
Yes.
Yep, he was the third Summers brother, according to Claremont. That's why he has red eyes. That's why he has his kinetic ability is similar to Alex and Scott's.
Why didn't they do that?
They didn't like that idea.
Oh.
They were like, no, Chris, you can't. No.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Keeping it all in the
if
family.
you read X-Men Forever, they do that.
Oh, neat.
He also, for no reason, changes Remy's last name. Remy LeBeau is his name in the comics.
Yeah.
Claremont's like, no, I liked Picard. His name is Remy Picard. And you're like, all right, Chris.
Engage.
But no, Vulcan is the third brother, and he sucks. Anyway, let's jump into some recommendations for books that are coming out this week.
please
I think
do.
you should check out. There's a lot of them. Listen, speaking of X books, X-Force coming out. It's coming up this week. If you like X-Men, every week there's a new X book.
Yeah.
X-Force.
And that's what's interesting. There's like something possibly for everybody. You know what I mean? If you like you like what Hickman was doing with X-Men, and maybe you like magic, then maybe Excalibur was for you.
Yeah.
You want pirate things?
Marauders. Or what about New Mutants?
Yeah,
That's also coming out.
Right? Maybe a movie should come out with it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to see the New Mutants movie.
I
Maybe
would
one day.
too. I really would. I don't care. I just want to see it.
Yeah, I don't care if it doesn't make any sense or it's not in continuity. None of it is.
No.
Works for me.
Put it out on something. I don't know.
But yeah, New Mutants, great idea. Looking forward to that. Daredevil from Chip Zdarsky number 13 is coming out.
That is messed up. That is so gross.
Yep. Fisk is gross.
Ugh.
It's a great book. Pick it up. Amazing Spider-Man 33 is coming out.
Nice.
It's about $20.99, maybe.
What makes you say that?
The fact that Spidey $20.99 is on it.
Yeah.
There's this weird book called Spider-Man and Venom Double Trouble by Gurihiru.
That is really fun.
And it's like,
though.
what the hell is this book? I don't know. It's just so weird. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. I've seen more art for this book, and it's like, it looks like this.
Yeah.
This is kind of fun. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
And hey, do you remember that Black Label book, Superman Year One?
I do.
Well, it's coming out in hardcover this week.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. And maybe and
guess.
maybe next week you'll see back issues on it because I already shot an episode of that. But yeah, what else is coming out this week?
The Dreaming number 15 is coming out. I'll pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's really this, and I'm honestly more excited about Hellblazer right now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's coming out this week. So if you've been on the Dreaming train, that you can get number 15. Die number 9 is coming out for my Kieran Gillen Die fans, those who are looking for their Kieran Gillen fix, but want something a little more dour that isn't Once and Future. You can go check out Die from Image if you like kind of like deep stories that have to do with like Dungeons and Dragons in a way.
Yeah.
So go check that out. I have not been reading this as of late.
But it's coming out anyway.
Yeah, Savage Avengers number 7's coming out. I forgot that it existed.
Yeah, it's the only Avengers book with Conan in it.
It is, which I do love, and so I should get back into that.
Yes.
I really should. And Ghost Rider number 2, I said I was going to continue on and check more of this out. It's coming out, which is funny because guess who's the villain? It's Lilith. So if you want to know more about Lilith, you could go watch our back issues on the Spirits of Venom because I chat about Lilith a lot.
Yeah,
in
which
that
you
book.
should.
So you should go check that out if you want to know more about her. Now
Yeah.
she folded into herself.
She didn't do that.
Now Ghost Rider helped her.
Yeah, Danny helped her with that.
Oh, yeah. Just a little, demon origami happened.
Yeah. Sad Althani back in the super chats. Thank you, man, so much. He
Yeah,
said,
thank
wasn't it
you.
X-Men the End? In X-Men the End, they do reference the fact that, like, I think they reference that Gambit's the third Summers brother in that as well. Again, written by Claremont. But X-Men Forever is where they were like, no! Picard! And also brother! And it's like reinforces an ongoing because he kind of approached it like it was going to be an ongoing. Of course, it was canceled, but whatever. But yeah, man.
I really like that idea. I don't know how other people feel about that.
I like the idea that like
really-
they had this bastard brother who's like on the other side of the tracks, and
Yeah.
just like he's like my rough around the edges brother.
Yeah, like he's not from space or anything like that. He's just a dude who is just like he's tied to these like more mystical things. You know what I mean? Like he's just so not what Scott is. I don't know. That's kind of cool.
I agree.
I feel like Corsair would be like.
Yeah. I would love for them to just go, you know what? We're not going to do the brother thing. We're not going to retcon it, but like I'm going to send Gambit with Corsair.
Right?
That'd be awesome.
He's just like, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy gets it.
Right? And thank you, by the way, for reminding me of X-Men The End. It's an epic kind of like waste of time. I got to reread it because I think I read some of it and just dropped it. But I have the whole run. And I've been considering doing it on back issues forever, like since we started the show. And I'm like, ugh, I got to keep it all straight. It's so ugh. But yeah, in any case, that's it. But we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching this episode, and for your super chats.
Yeah.
I want to thank our sponsor for this episode, you guys out there who super chatted. Thank you all so much for your generosity and for your support. We do appreciate it. Listen, if you like this kind of thing, you should maybe give us a like. It helps out the channels. Give us a subscription if you want to subscribe to the show. Watch more stuff. Click the bell for notifications. Maybe the YouTube's stupid like that.
It's weird.
But it would help out the show. Watch the rest of the stuff that we make if you're inclined.
Yes.
We actually, if you're a member of the Facebook group, that's YouTube or Facebook.com/ComicPOPofficial. We dropped a ton of old, lost, deleted, or at least unlisted videos. A bunch of interviews from back in the day. If you like those interviews, that's probably where you're gonna find most of them. Is gonna be over there. We dropped 7 episodes. Tiffany interviews JMD Mateus.
Finch.
David Finch. I interviewed Matt Wagner, Yale Stewart, and there's a bunch of others.
Yeah.
So check them all out. They're really fun, and they're short. It's easy to read. Easy to absorb.
Yeah, you can absorb it right into your face.
That's right. Yeah, absorb it into your face.
Through your eye holes.
Right. Why not? Anything else going on that we want to let everybody know about?
No, I just said eye holes, so I'm good.
Hey, get out of there with my eye holes. But, yeah. And if you like Twitch, twitch.tv/ComicPOPTV, watch this young lady play video games.
Oh,
it's a lot
thank
of
you.
fun. And that's it. So we'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode. I want to thank you all for watching. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.
Bye, guys.